Good evening, everyone. It's 5:30, so I'm going to call this special meeting of the Ottumwa City Council to order. And would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Sherry will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Here.
Councilmember Cavanagh.
Here.
Councilmember Reed.
Here.
Councilmember Galloway. Here. Councilmember Ottumwa.
Here.
Mayor Johnson.
Here. The first item is to approve tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Here, take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
Councilmember Cavanagh.
Yes.
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway. Yes. Councilmember Hoffman.
Yeah.
This is the time, place, and date set for a public hearing on the proposed property tax levy for the city of Ottumwa, fiscal year 25-26.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and I believe Cole O'Donnell's gonna cover this.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As required by Iowa code, a hearing on proposed tax levies must be held separate from a public hearing on the proposed budget. So if we happen to get done early, we won't be able to start the regular meeting until 6 o'clock, so, I'll maybe stretch it out, but keep us entertained. This is a public hearing only, there is no action, on this. What it is on the 15th, when we hold our public hearing on the budget as a whole, that is when we will certify the taxes. Tax evaluations increased by 2.56%. This was not a reassessment year, so that is probably some new valuation resulting from either some release of tax income financing valuation or new constructions or upgrades in housing. As a result, individual funds may receive more funds without a levy increase, but our changes are as follows. In Fund 001, General Fund, levy remains the same, that results in a revenue increase of $146,793, which is a 2.52% increase. Fund 112, which is employee benefits, the levy goes from 0.71472 to 0.79362. That is an 11% increase. New revenue of $331,384, which is a 6.62% increase in revenue. Fund 129, which is risk management, port liability, the levy goes from 7.35351 to 7.61617, a 3.5% increase, with a revenue increase of $55,512, which is 11.09%. Fund 200, debt service, the levy goes from 4.22014 to 4.06475, which is a 3.6% decrease, with a decrease in revenue of $335,507, which is a 10.15% decrease. Overall total levy goes from 20.80779 to 20.99396, which is a 0.8% increase in the levy. Total revenue increase of $198,182, which is a 1.35% increase in tax revenue. But where do the tax levies, where does the money go? General Fund receives $5,967,384 directly, plus another $4,593,809 from Fund 112 Employee Benefits for benefits. This is 71% of all tax revenue received. The general fund includes all public safety operations, community development, parks and recreation, and administration. Tort liability, Fund 129, receives $555,887 for property and liability insurance for the general fund. The general fund, library and cemetery only. Any of the enterprise funds are required to pay for their insurance out of their operational revenues. The debt service fund 200 receives $2,971,219 for GO debt obligations. An additional $1,904,517 is transferred into the fund to pay or partially pay for certain specific use debt. What is the effect on residential and commercial property? If your 100% valuations of a residential property is $100,000, your taxable valuation without any exemptions is $47,432. Your annual tax increase on $100,000 of valuation is $8.83. Your monthly tax increase is 74 cents. If you have a commercial property worth $300,000, your taxable valuation is $135,712. Your annual tax increase is $25.27. Your monthly tax increase is $2.11. Reasons for the increase. Property and liability insurance rates continue to have increases as ICAP continues to replenish reserve depleted due to multiple natural disasters. Employee benefits have seen a moderate increase, however, it has become necessary to levy for benefits for employees in the street department. In fiscal year 26, 1/4 of the benefit costs are levied for. An additional 1/4 of the benefits are being funded from insurance reserves as is the retiree insurance premiums. Future budgets will need to begin levying for 100% of both those expenses. However, we plan to step the road use tax in over time, so not to overload the taxpayer. Additionally, the general fund portion of the benefits levy is reduced by $100,000, and the cost of benefits will not be fully covered by the levies. This is part of the city's effort to meet levy reductions mandated by the state of Iowa in House File 718. The consolidated general fund levy must be at its maximum in order to levy for benefits. The reduced benefits levy amounted to 0.139 cents. So we would add an additional 13.9 cents or another 14 cents on the benefits levy if we did not reduce that and not transfer it to the general fund. So some of the reasons for the increase in the employee benefits, we have increases in our premiums. Medical insurance increased by 3.995%, dental increased by 6.1%, vision increased by 3%. I will say that dental and vision, because their premiums are fairly low, it has minimal impact if there is an increase to those. Also factoring into the increase in benefits, all the employees on the compensation plan, the cost of living increase is 2.5%. That is the CPI as reported by the Iowa cities. One additional thing related to property tax. There is a property tax reform bill in both the House and the Senate. They're exactly the same. It's a complex bill that will overhaul the entire property tax system. I don't know if the bill still has a July 1, 2025 begin date. If that's the case, we're all going to scramble. Hopefully they take that off. But the Iowa League of Cities had a professional firm, a financial firm, prepare a worksheet that we can then enter in numbers in order to measure the impact of the legislation on the city of Ottumwa. I have not had a chance to take a look at it. It came in Friday. I spent the last 2 days finishing up the budget. I will be looking at it tomorrow. And with that, I open this up to the public for any comments or any questions from the council at this time.
I just want to go back to, so you said the debt service, 200, and you said GO, debt obligations, and you're talking about general obligations, correct?
Correct.
Just wanted to clarify that.
General obligation bonds are those that are paid just from, property tax. There may, and I will clarify, there may be some bonds that are GO, but they are GO revenue or general obligation alternative revenue, which means that we then, will use other funds to pay them, but the bonds are backed by the full faith and credit of the city.
So the city is paying for medical insurance for retirees that we have, is that correct?
There are a certain number of retirees that are still, that still qualify for the retiree benefits. That benefit was, ended for any employee hired after
February of 1993.
February of 1993.
So that has ended, but we still have some.
Yeah,
that are
we still have, we
grandfathered.
still have some on there, and I think we still have a couple that will qualify when they retire.
Yeah, the benefit applied for anyone hired prior to that February 1993 date. So we still have a couple employees working for us, but then anybody that has retired in that interim was still eligible for that. And they do pay a percentage of that benefit.
Yes, yes, they do. And I believe once they reach 65, they're required to go on Medicare, but then, we provide a supplement for them. And that's one of the, things that increased, a little bit more, because of some of the changes that, came down with, where, from the federal government, or where those changes on the,
Yeah, with national,
with Medicare.
Medicare.
Yeah, with
changes.
Medicare.
Yes.
So when those changes occurred, the insurance company said they weren't going to risk, so they upped their premiums.
Have you heard at all when excuse me, when the state of Iowa will be finalizing the House and the Senate regarding this tax issue?
There's, conflicting information. The one thing they did do is they said, hey, you know, we want to hear back from communities on the effect of this bill. And they specifically asked the league to come up with a model and present the information. That was 2 weeks ago. It did go through subcommittee. They both advanced to the full committee. I have not heard when that full committee, is scheduled. Probably going to be this Thursday, because Thursday is usually when they have their full committees. There is rumor that because it's so complex and it's taken a while to get the information, that they'll pull those back and reintroduce them at the beginning of the next session, perhaps with some changes. There is also some rumors that, okay, we're gonna pass this and we'll fix it next year.
That's what was said about 718.
Yes, correct. So, to answer your question, I have no idea.
Thank you.
Any other questions from council? We did have one individual that would like to speak on this, so I would call Travis Decker to the podium. Go ahead and state your name and address, please.
Travis Decker, 719 Glenwood Avenue, Ottumwa. And I just wanted to speak on the whole premise of property taxes in general. A person takes and decides to buy a house. They go and they work to pay for that house. And in the process of that, they also pay a lot of interest. So they get a $100,000 house, they may pay $175,000 for it by the time it's done. They own it. Only, no, they don't. There is no private property in the city, and I'm just gonna deal with the city of Ottumwa, it's the whole United States. And I would ask before I continue, does the state mandate that you charge property taxes? Does anyone, do you have a choice in that? Sure.
No, the state does not mandate that we charge property tax, however, the other sources of revenue are very limited.
Sure, I understand that. So, and then with that, so a person has worked all their life, saved, they come into retirement. I called one of the ladies from our church tonight and I asked her, I said, what's your income? Basically, she said, my income for a month is about $1,200 something dollars. And I said, what's your property taxes for the year? Her property taxes are $600 for the year. That's a pretty significant amount of her income. And she said, they gave me a poverty rate, which I'm thankful for, because that cut it from $1,200 for property taxes down to $600 for property taxes, which gave her a break. It's still for her. And here she is, she's a widow. She's at risk of losing her house if she can't come up with that money. She's lived in the house for all of these years. Her husband worked, bought, paid for the house, and it's not hers. Something needs to be done to fix the idea of private property. That a person cannot lose what they own just because they can't come up with a certain level of taxes. And I understand that the gentleman's speaking there. I understand the state has limited other sources of revenue. And so I don't have the answer. The other thing is to consider, one man works 60 hours a week, buys a $200,000 house. Another man works 40 hours a week, buys a $100,000 house. The person with the $200,000 house has to spend $6,000 in property taxes. The person with a $100,000 house has to spend $3,000 in property taxes. We're punishing the person for being a hard worker. Does he get better roads in front of his house because he pays higher property taxes? Does if he had a fire, does the fire truck show up faster to his house because he has a more expensive house? If a person lets their house devalue, then their property taxes go down. Look around Ottumwa. There's a whole lot of houses that are just completely dilapidated, run down. If the people say, I'm gonna really work to fix this up, the value of their house goes up and their property taxes go up. We should want to incentivize people to take good care of their houses and their properties. And the whole thing is like a punishment tax. If you do well for yourself, we're gonna punish you. If you can afford more, we're gonna take more from you. And so we need to just consider, I would like the city council to look at it and say, how could we come up with revenue to completely do away with property taxes so people can actually own their property? I don't know what the answer to that is. I don't know whether it could be a little more sales tax or this, that, or another, or work with the state legislature as a city and say, let's deal with this so that people in Iowa can own their own property and not lose it. So just, to me, it's a moral dilemma that a person should not be losing their house that they bought and paid for, and especially you get into retirement. Or maybe it could even be, start with people over 65 or over 70 years old don't have to pay any property taxes. So that those people, as they go into retirement, I know there's some people never worry about it. And as a church family, we would never let Mrs. Watley lose her house. We would, as a church family, say, we'll pay her property taxes so that she wouldn't lose her house. But I think the city ought to look out for the private property of the citizens. So that's just a thought that I have. I would like, just look into it and see, is there another way, is there some other way to offset that revenue, and let's have actual private property in the United States of America, okay?
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on the property tax levy?
Right here.
Would you come up to the podium, sir, and give your name and address?
Roy Turner, 655 Minneoka. I would just like to ask one question. I mean, we just moved back to town a little over a year ago. And right after we moved to town, we got a bump in our property tax. And the gal said, well, you didn't see it last year, but you're seeing it this year. Well, and now they've done it again. And now you guys come out and you want to raise property taxes again? You know, in my household, when we can't make the budget, or can't afford something, we don't buy it.
I think it's time that the city thinks about the community, because, not everybody's got a bucket full of money or a tree that, has $20 bills hanging in the backyard. I think if you guys can't do with what you got right now, you raise taxes, but in a couple of years, you're gonna turn around and say, well, we need more money, so we're gonna raise taxes again. It's perpetual, I'm trying to say. Cause I remember years ago, when I lived in town here, they had a 1 cent sales tax that was gonna be on for, I think, 4 years, something like that, fix the sewers. Never did get, and then after 4 years, the city said, well, it's gonna be gone. You guys never did ever get rid of it. It's just, you just kept on going. And you've done that several times. There comes a point where people are gonna get angry, It's like you guys are picking our pockets constantly. And I think it's about time that the city learns to, live with what they got and quit trying to gouge the citizens of Ottumwa for more. That's all I got to say.
So, some follow-up on the comments the gentleman had. First of all, this is our first tax increase in 5 years. Our first levy increase in 5 years. We have received more revenue because of the complexity of the property taxes is such that we can keep our levy the same, but if people's property valuations increase, we increase our revenue. So certainly, it can be said that in order to control taxes, we need to bring down our levy because the valuations come up. So that is an argument that's been made. Secondly, everyone needs to realize that we are only one piece of the property tax equation. Your property tax you pay, a portion goes to the city, a portion goes to the county, which is going to go up by 13%. A portion goes to the school district, and they have an increase that it's like 2.3%. And then there are other smaller taxing entities, community college, there might be some other districts or smaller districts within there. So we're only one piece. One of the problems with when somebody gets their property tax bill here in the city, they call the city and says, "Look how much my property taxes go up." And we try to explain to them, well, no, we really didn't go up that much, but we're the ones, the scapegoats, because they live in the city, they think that all their taxes go to the city. They do not. Okay, people have to remember that. To the gentleman that asked about getting rid of property tax, if we could get rid of property tax, we would. We would just have to be able to bring in money somewhere else. The state said the state gives us home rule, which right now is kind of iffy. It is home rule over everything but finances. Okay, our revenue sources. So basically, they said you can have property tax, you can have fees, you can have charges for services, you can have a local option sales tax, and you can have a few other things. And that's what they said. That's it, right? And to the gentleman's point about property tax, right now this legislature is working on ways to limit property taxes so that our increases can't be more than a certain amount. That other fees, they've introduced bills this session where other fees are going to be limited. They've looked at getting rid of the franchise fees completely, which would take 1.6 million out of our budget. If the state gives us something else, we'll take it, right? And we'll bring down those property taxes, but there isn't anything else out there right now. And they're not in a very giving mood to give us anything else, and haven't been for a long time.
Is there any other comments from anyone in the audience regarding the property tax levy?
Can I speak a second time?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, I thought something else I'd like to say. And since I moved to Ottumwa, I went down, I wanted to put up privacy fence, well, I didn't, but my wife did. Well, I go down to the city, get a permit for it, and I told them I want to put up 7-foot privacy fence. Oh, no, you can't put up 7-foot privacy fence. We'll let you put up 6 foot. Well, if you're 6 foot tall, 6-foot fence is not private. 7 foot is. But it's a rule you guys came up with. And then I had a fire pit in the backyard. I burned a cardboard box, having permit. Had some styrofoam in it, smoked a little bit. Here comes the fire department. Wanted to know, what are you doing? And I said, well, I burned a cardboard box in my fire pit. Oh, you can't do that in the Ottumwa. Says, that's why we have trash pickup. I said, okay, well, how come when I set it on the curb, they don't pick it up, they leave it lie? And, I mean, it's just things like that. I mean, I don't know why I ever moved back in town from the county, because I regretted it ever since, but, I mean, there's just some things that happen up on Church Street in front of our church. You guys cut a piece out of the street to put in new concrete and make it fancy so it looks like bricks.
Sir,
For a wall.
if you have some other things you want to talk about, besides the property tax levy, you can speak at the next council meeting that's gonna start in just a few.
Well, yeah, but the property tax has to do with all this stuff that you guys do in the city, doesn't it?
Well, this public hearing is specifically about the property tax levy.
Okay, all right, I'll shut my mouth then.
Is there any other comments that anybody wants to make regarding the property tax levy? Does council have any other comments they want to make about the property tax levy?
I take exception to being called you guys. We do not raise the taxes. But we do have to provide service, streets, sewers, water, and all the other services that we have.
Emergency services.
Excuse me?
Emergency services.
Emergency services. I forgot to. Anyway, it's not, and if anybody in this room or any place has an idea how to do a better job than we're doing, we got an election coming up shortly. You all get out there and run for it. We'll see you get elected. That's just my comments. I feel as bad about I pay more property taxes than I want to, believe me, by far. But the problem is, if you don't pay them, your house goes away someplace else. My wife would object. She doesn't want to live with anybody else. So, anyway, thank you, Mayor.
If there's no other comments from council or the public, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Sherry will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Cavanagh,
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman.
Yes. And then I go ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn this special meeting of the Ottumwa City Council.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Sherry will take the roll.
Councilmember McIntyre,
Yes.
Councilmember Cavanagh,
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman.
Yes.
Okay, we are adjourned,
You have 2 minutes. Less than 2 minutes.
and then we'll start our other regular city council meeting in a couple minutes. Okay, it's 6 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and call the Ottumwa City Council regular meeting to order. And if everybody would rise for the Pledge of Allegiance again, please. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Sherry will go ahead and take the roll.
Councilmember Cavanagh,
Here.
Councilmember Reed,
Here.
Councilmember Galloway,
Here.
Councilmember Hoffman,
Here.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Here.
Johnson.
Okay, the next item is to approve tonight's consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sherry will take the roll.
Councilmember Cavanagh,
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Because of item 4, I'll abstain.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes. The next item is to approve tonight's city council agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Sure, take the roll.
Councilmember Cavanagh,
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman.
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes. Okay, we've got two or three things under the city administrator's report tonight, and I'm gonna kick it off. First of all, the month of April is, known nationwide as Child Abuse Prevention Month, so I did a mayoral proclamation. And I'm gonna go ahead and read it, then I'm gonna present it to Angie Mock, who's the chair of the Wapello County Children's Alliance. Children are key to the state's future success, prosperity, and quality of life. And while children are our most valuable resource, they are also our most vulnerable. Children have a right to be safe and to be provided an opportunity to thrive, learn, and grow. Child abuse and neglect can be prevented by supporting and strengthening Iowa families, thus preventing the far-reaching effects of maltreatment, providing the opportunity for children to develop healthy, trusting family bonds, and consequently building the foundation of communities. We must come together as partners so that the voices of our children are heard by all. And we are as a community extending a helping hand to children and families in need. By providing safe, stable, and nurturing relationships for our children, free of violence, abuse, and neglect, we can ensure that Iowa's children will grow to their full potential as the next generation of leaders, helping to secure the future of this state and nation. Now therefore, I, Richard W. Johnson, Mayor, City of Ottumwa, proclaim the month of April 2025 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Ottumwa, Iowa. I urge all citizens in Wapello County, community agencies, religious organizations, medical facilities, and businesses to partner in our efforts to prevent child abuse and neglect, thereby strengthening the communities in which we all live. Signed, Richard W. Johnson, Mayor. I'll come over to you.
Oh, well, I just want to say.
Thank you very much, Angie.
Thank
Would you like to say anything on behalf of the Children's Alliance?
Not tonight.
Well, the Wapello County Children's Alliance does a lot of wonderful things in our community, and one of the things that they do focus on is trying to help prevent child abuse and child abuse neglect. So thank you for all your ongoing efforts, and we really don't know what we do if we didn't have the Wapello County Children's Alliance to help us.
Thank you very much, Mayor Johnson.
Yep, okay, thank you, Mayor Johnson. Next up, before we get to the legislative update, I think we'll have the Youth City Council update. And I think they have a presentation that Travis can pull up.
I'm Isabel Hoffman from the Ottumwa. Come closer.
Speak
Right
into the
into that
microphone.
one.
I'm Isabel Hoffman from the Ottumwa Youth City Council, and I'm chair.
I'm Ikea. I'm the City Council's mentor. Hold that mic right into your faces.
I am Donna Ikea. I'm the Ottumwa City Council's mentor.
I'm Melanie Cividonis, and I'm a U City Council member.
I'm Zion Perryman, and I'm the secretary of Youth City Council.
I'm Haley Miller, and I'm the vice chair of the City Council.
Hello, I'm Griffin Hayek, and I'm a member of the City Council.
My name is Ellie Maltier, and I'm a member of the City Council.
Dear Ottumwa City Council, I'm honored to stand before you today to share experiences and insights from the 36th Annual Leadership Conference in Minnesota. As many of you know, this conference is a yearly event that brings together leaders from various communities to share best practices and strategies that have driven positive change. Our goal in attending this conference was to learn from others, gain new perspectives, and return equipped to better serve our community. I'm thrilled to report that our expectations were exceeded. Each of us have had unique experiences, but collectively we have gained some quite invaluable lessons, particularly regarding the true meaning of service learning. We also discovered a wealth of resources available to us, which we're eager to leverage. As we share our takeaways with you today, we hope you'll remember one key message. We are the Ottumwa City Council. Our mission is to empower the youth of our city by providing a platform for their voices to be heard, fostering collaboration and driving positive change. Through inclusive leadership and innovative initiative, we aim to address the diverse needs and aspirations of young people, creating a vibrant and inclusive community. As we move forward, we want to shift our mindset. We no longer want to be known as today's learners and tomorrow's leaders. Instead, we embrace the philosophy of being today's learners and today's leaders. Thank you.
Next slide, please. So, hello, I'm here with the Youth City Council, and I'm here to present our Youth Entrepreneurship Contest. Now, the Youth Entrepreneurship Contest is an amazing opportunity for Ottumwa youth ages 14 through 18. It's an exciting opportunity for young visionaries to showcase their business ideas to community leaders. So how it'll work is that 10 participants will present 5 to 7 minute pitches to local business leaders and local city leaders. After that, the next 5 top participants will move forward and renew their pitches for within weeks' time. Next slide, please. So after the second round is finished, 3 final winners will be selected. And each winner will get a unique prize. However, the grand prize for the first place winner, their business pitch, will become a reality. So their business pitch, it will become a more permanent business. It doesn't have to be as grand as a store, but it could be a pop-up or a program in their name.
The second project we're working on is the youth pop-up spaces. Our goal for this is to create a welcoming and vibrant environment and space for youth to come and connect with each other, relax, and just enjoy themselves and have a fun time. We want these to be exciting and dynamic spaces for youth individuals to gather, play games, socialize, and have fun. This could include different activities for kids like elementary kids or students in high school. So it'd be a pretty good age range. For the youth pop-up spaces, our vision is to host monthly events. Whether they're indoors or outdoors, they can include food, drinks, and music for a lively atmosphere. We would also like to have them be themed or inspired by a month or a season. And we'd like to look for partnerships of events that are already happening and piggyback off with them. And make it a little bit something more our own.
All right, so I'm presenting the Shadow City Leader Day. So the objective of this is to allow youth to shadow a city leader. We really want to give them insight into how our local government runs, and we also want to create that community engagement.
Allowing our youth to shadow city leaders will give them an idea of what a career in city administration looks like, giving them a chance to foster connections between youth and city leadership, which I feel like is currently weak.
So our first planned step to this project is to host a small little career fair. Oh, sorry. We want this just to be a small, quick thing to gain the interest of the youth for the overall big project of this. It would be from 10:43 to 11:13, the students' connections time. We would have some city leaders, and are these the city leaders right here? Okay. So we would be interested in having them come to the school, talk about their careers, have the students learn really what they do, and that would be the first step of this.
We also have a shadowing day where we would select a group of students to come and spend a full day with city administration. Up here you see the schedule.
from 8:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. They check in and do orientation. 9:30 a.m. they have their first job shadow. 11:30 a.m. lunch and networking. 12:15 second job shadow. And after that, there will just be a group discussion and reflection. We want this to be something that is held probably multiple times over the course of the school year, and we hope to implement this maybe next semester.
So we come here today, we would love the city support to participate in the career fair and allow us to have a shadow day. Thank you.
I want to just provide a real quick little background on this. The City Youth Council has just been amazing. In the fall of 2023, Colby Mercer from the Ottumwa High School, Councilman Galloway, and myself started talking about what could we do to increase the potential for youth in our community to have some leadership opportunities. And out of those discussions, we decided to start a City Youth Council. This isn't something new and brand new. There's other communities that have already done this. So we kind of patterned it off a little bit of some of the other communities, but we also tweaked it for our own needs. And I'm just so proud of the youth that serve on our City Youth Council because they're really very engaged. We meet every month, twice a month, the first and the third Mondays preceding our regular council meetings. And they're really coming up, as you can see, with some really great projects this coming year. And I just can't say enough good things about our City Youth Council. These are our future leaders of our community if they choose to stay here after they get out of school or go to college. So it's really important that we do what we can to help foster and grow leadership potential in our youth because they are the future of our city.
Yeah, and I would just piggyback off of that too. So I've had the glorious opportunity to work with these youth for the last year, and it has been all but amazing. So we have had some trying times, and we've seen a lot of growth with every single one of them. I am so incredibly proud of the work you have all done and the growth that I have seen in you. I had the great opportunity this past week to travel with some of them to St. Paul for a conference, which was paid through a grant. It was not through our city budget. We got a grant to attend that. And it was an amazing opportunity to see the excitement in these leaders that are our leaders today. And to be able to bring that excitement back was absolutely amazing. And I'm excited to see what our meeting, the discussions that we have at our meetings. And so you all are invited to our youth council meetings. They are open meetings. We have them at the train depot on the first and third Mondays of the month at 3:30. I recommend that you all come because there's a lot of growth going on right there and a lot that's happening. And you've heard some amazing projects that these individuals are working on. And if you have a way that you would love to partner with them, we would love to have those conversations. So thank you all for what you have done. You all are amazing and you inspire me, and can't wait to see you Monday.
All right, thank you for the presentation there. Now I'll go, we've been doing some legislative updates. Cole kind of touched on one of these in the previous meeting. And I'll just hit on it. As was mentioned, there's two bills side by side in the Senate and the House talking about property tax system overhaul. It would not eliminate the property tax system in its entirety, but it is pretty thorough and comprehensive in its nature. There's a lot of questions that are still being looked at and worked through there. And it would be looking at not just the property taxes for cities, but also counties and school districts. And it looks like it also includes public transit and ag properties as well. Their legislators are looking for stakeholder feedback on this. As was mentioned, they've reached out to or at least the members have reached out to the League of Cities for some feedback from communities of all size and stature across the state, and I'm sure are looking at information from their constituents as well. goes back, I think, to, well, what I'm hearing is, the seventies with the rollback and, that whole process, and part of this bill is looking at maybe eliminating that, the rollback, and that would have a big impact on how the whole property tax system and bills would work going forward. So as they're working through this process, the details are getting formulated there. And whether that's completed in this session or a future session, there's a lot of work there. I think there's, some positive things to it, and some things that could potentially negatively impact, communities. But that'll be, as things shake out, we'll see, how that all plays out. Senate File 588 and House File 651 refers to public notice alignment and trying to get that formulated so that I think you have like a 4 and 10 day publication and a 10 and 20 day publication, and trying to get that into one succinct notice period for anything that requires public notice, to make that a little bit more certain as to which method you would follow. There would be one instead of multiple. Legislation that has advanced, at least past one or the other side of the legislature. House File 969 was cancer coverage for firefighters and police officers. That has passed the House. That would expand the definition of cancer to include all forms of cancer rather than the 14 that were previously required to be covered. Additionally, the bill increases the applicable employee contribution percentage for special service members by 0.125% annually, and would decrease the applicable employer contribution percentage by that same amount. It adjusts the member's contribution then to rate of 9.675 for July 125, and a maximum cap of 11.475 thereafter. Another bill that has passed the House refers to open meeting penalties. That would increase the range of damages for violations of the open meetings law, currently at $500 to $2,500 for violations, $5,000 from $500 to $2,500 for violations, and from $5,000 to $12,500 for knowing violations. That would require a court order, the removal of a member of a board for open meeting violations, regardless of whether damages are assessed, and requires the members of the government body to take training in open meetings records law within 90 days of assuming responsibilities, and further requiring IPIB, the Iowa Public Information Board, to develop such training. And makes a member subject to the damages for not completing the training. Let's see, there's a couple more here. Senate File 507 is a prohibition of local government DEI programs that has passed the Senate. Would prohibit counties and cities in Iowa from establishing diversity, equity, and inclusion offices, hiring related personnel, or requiring diversity statements, while defining diversity, equity, and inclusion in a way that restricts various related initiatives. The bill aims to prevent any policies or practices that promote differential treatment based on race, gender identity, or sexual orientation, except as required by federal or state law. And then Senate File 592, auxiliary dwelling units, or ADUs, has passed the Senate. That would require Iowa cities and counties to permit at least one ADU on the same lot as a single-family residence, while limiting the ability of local governments to impose restrictive regulations on ADUs. Bill outlines specific conditions regarding size, utility access, and approval process to facilitate construction and use of ADUs. And then there's some other ones that are looking at scheduled subcommittees. House File 706, open meeting, open records violations, increasing penalties for open meetings and open record violations, requiring newly elected or appointed public officials to complete training on those laws. Senate File 594, fire protection service consolidation study. Would require the state fire marshal to conduct a comprehensive study on the potential consolidation of fire protection services. The study would aim to assess current fire protection coverage, response time, staffing needs, equipment requirements, while also analyzing the financial implications of existing service programs. And we have one Senate File 494, freedom to garden. Prohibits state agencies and local governments from regulating residential gardens and the marketing of garden food for individuals' rights to grow and sell food from their own properties. So there's kind of a variety of things across the gamut, and things that are either at or we're moving through, either the House or Senate, at this point. And there's a number of other bills out there as well, not all of them affect communities, in the same way, but those are a few that are out there currently.
Administrator Rath, what about House File 294, the library levy? As last week, about a week ago, it was still alive and well. Have you heard anything more on that? And when I say library levy, that's to potentially bring the library levy back with a vote.
I had not heard anything more about that, but let me see if I can find something quick here.
That's okay if you don't.
Okay, yeah.
What rate?
Let's see. All right. That has been silent for a while. Last activity I see was back in February, it looks like.
Thank you.
But any financial bills, so even if it did make it through the first funnel, if it's financial or tax related or budget related, it can make it through at any point, even after the first or second funnel.
Okay, thank you.
No, that is all I had right now on that, and I will turn that back over to you then.
Okay. The next item on our agenda is where I ask anyone in the audience if they'd like to speak on any of tonight's agenda items. We do have one individual that wants to speak on an agenda item, and I will call them up here to the podium when we get to that section of the agenda. But is there anybody else that wants to speak on any of our agenda items tonight besides the individual who's already filled out a paper? Okay. We have 3 public hearings, so we'll start with those.
This is a time, place, and date set for a public hearing on approving the plan and specifications, form of contract, and assessment cost for the apron improvement projects at the Ottumwa Regional Airport.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing, and I believe our airport manager, JB Wheaton, is gonna talk about this.
I am. Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a public hearing on the proposed plan, specifications, and form of contract for the upcoming apron construction project at Ottumwa Regional Airport. The specifications for this project have been drafted by our airport consultants, Kirk and Micah. I got Rick Johnson and Corey Gasson here tonight. They drove from Nebraska today, in case you have any questions for this. The funding for this will be through the FAA for this whole complete project. The design and survey was all part of a 90-10 process, where we paid 10%, the FAA paid 90%. Moving forward, the rest of this project is a 95-5 match. So we did put some alternate stuff in there for some alternate bids, just in case we want to go ahead and move that forward, where we're only paying 5% of that. And once the construction crew's already there set up, it's a whole lot cheaper getting more than per square foot than if they have to come back and do it at a later time. So you see in front, the orange covered part there, I promise I did not use crayons to do this. But that's gonna be a slurry coat in front of the terminal. That pavement there is approximately 21, 22 years old. It's getting pretty cracked up and needs a lot of work. The purple part you're gonna see, that is gonna be total reconstruction, ripped out, completely put back with concrete. The green areas are what we're putting for an alternate bid. So if you have any questions for my consultants about funding or anything, we can talk about that.
Does the council have any questions for JD?
Where's the blue part located in relationship to the big hangar at?
It's between the big hangar and our maintenance shop, that bluish purple.
Okay. Thank you.
And the timeline while this is going on, in case there's questions on what are we gonna do with the aircraft while this construction project's going on. The folks that's in the big hangar, obviously Musco Lighting will relocate during this time because there's no way they can get in and out, but the other smaller aircraft, we will do that area in front of that hangar last, and we'll replace it back in first. We'll tear it out last, put it back in first. So approximate time, I mean, once it's poured in 5 days, they can be using it, so.
And how many? 5?
In 5 days, they're not gonna be cured enough to take it. Those aircraft are pretty light, so.
Well, we have an amazing airport. I think it's really nice. I'm a little biased, I guess, but I really like our airport, and it's wonderful that you guys have rental you know, a lot of airports don't have the income that you guys have out there, because the city doesn't even have to.
No, there's no taxpayer dollars goes there in case anybody wondered how this project goes. I guarantee it's not a taxpayer dollars spent out there, so.
And, but, you know, your
I
little
almost forgot
stuff,
for.
and then the FAA, the federal government basically giving some money.
Right. And we also have some state funded projects also, but this one here that we're talking about tonight is a federal funded project.
And it's $1 million project, correct?
It's more, it's a little more than $1 million, but with everything included in all the survey design work and everything, yes.
Any other questions from council? Since this is a public hearing, is there anyone in the audience that would like to make any comments or ask any questions? Okay, if not, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion closed.
Second.
Sure, we'll take the roll.
Councilmember Cabinets,
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
Resolution number 45/2025, approving the plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the apron improvements project at the Ottumwa Regional Airport. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution 45/2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move the recommendation.
Second.
Sharon, take the roll.
Councilmember Cabinets,
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes. And on to again.
So this is the trafficking. Place and date set for a public hearing on the proposal to convey certain real property located at 422 North Buffalo to Alma Perez.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. I believe, Phil, you're gonna handle this.
Yeah, so the city accepted bids on the property until 2 p.m. March 12th, 2025. 3 bids were submitted. Alma Perez submitted the best bid, amount of $7,777.77. And staff would recommend accepting that bid. A copy of the bid and bid tab was attached with the resolution and documentation.
Does council have any questions for Phil? If not, is there anyone in the audience that has any questions or comments they'd like to make regarding this property? Okay, if not, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close. Second.
Sharon, take the roll.
Councilmember Cabinets,
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
Resolution number 51/2025, accepting the bid and approving the disposal of 422 North Walpole, Ottumwa, Iowa, Alma Perez for the sum of $7,777.77. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution 51/2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move the recommendation.
Sharon, take the roll.
Councilmember Cabinets,
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
This is the time, place, and date set for public hearing on ordinance number 3242/2025. Establishing solid waste fees for non-commercial establishments by repealing and replacing section 31.5 -35 of the municipal code of the city of Ottumwa, Waco County, Iowa.
I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. I believe, Phil, you're also gonna handle this.
Yes, Honorable Mayor. So what we're looking at tonight is a request to hold a public hearing and then potentially pass and adopt the first reading of ordinance 3242-2025. The solid waste fees are adopted by ordinance, and that would expire, the current fees would expire June 30 of this year. This ordinance would adopt the new solid waste fees for non-commercial establishment customers. Per the agreement with Bridge City Sanitation, the per unit cost is set to increase July 1. to cover that increase, as well as potential increases related to in future landfill tipping fees, fuel surcharges, cleanups, and administrative costs, specifically related with the bill collection. We pay the water department. We're looking for an increased fee of $1.50 per unit per month, recommended for fiscal years 26 and again fiscal year 27. That adjustment will result in a new rate of $24.50 per month on July 1, 2025, and $26 per month on July 1, 2026.
Does council have any questions for Phil? If not,
Administrator, what would be what's the driving force, what's the main need there with the solid waste and push this increase?
And Cole has been looking at the numbers here a little bit, if he can talk, but we're gonna have an increase that happens as a result of the contract, plus the additional costs that may occur as a result. Well, we have the administrative fees that also go up a percentage every year, and all the Cole.
Right, and additionally, what it is there's a potential for a fuel surcharge. So if the fuel prices go up, or if the landfill fees go up, which I believe they might be scheduled to do, that affects how much Bridge City Sanitation can charge. When I looked at the numbers, what it is the garbage fees right now bring in a little more than the cost of the contract for Bridge City Sanitation, but we also include our property cleanup costs in with that. And when you add those two together, even with the increase, we're a little far behind. So some of that is still so the cleanups are then supported by property tax as well. And the reason why we include the cleanups is because we do have to take those out to the landfill. There is a cost for that, and so we include that within the solid waste fees.
Let's say bottom line, to answer your question, these fees are for the residential customers. The taxes would be residential, commercial, et cetera. But kind of get away from the property tax aspect, these are fees directly related with the usage of the service.
any other questions from council?
Is there a city cleanup day this year?
There will be, I have requested a meeting with Bridge City Sanitation to identify the date for that. And we don't have a meeting set up yet, but I hope to meet with them very soon here.
The only comment that I have to make beyond that is that I see that Oskaloosa has a disposal day set up, and they will take TVs, tires, whatever you want to throw at them, and there's no fee. So anybody here in Ottumwa that wants to offload something in Oskaloosa, I'd recommend you do it.
I would caution that some cities, because of that very thing, do set up ways to limit it to their residents, so.
Yeah,
I've read their requirements, so I'm speaking from what's.
and we have done that here. The cleanup day, the drop-off day is part of the agreement. And I do believe that you check the residential, the driver's licenses or some other form of identification by the residents.
And they'll make you go back and get it if you forgot your ID. So,
Nice person.
I know, I forgot mine.
Any other questions from council? If not, is there anyone in the audience that would like to make any comments or ask any questions? Go ahead and identify your name and address, please.
Katie Howard, 1111 Hamilton Street. If I understood correctly, what was just indicated was that when the city has to do a property cleanup and that material needs to be taken to the landfill, that you have costs associated with that. Okay, in a previous meeting, there was discussion about the mowing costs that are built into the city budgets when people fail to clean their properties up, or also the just general refuse. So is this an additional cost in addition to that?
Again, so everybody can hear me, I'll come up. So the mowing cost is a separate cost. That is a separate line item and is not included as part of the, refuse fee. We do have, over $100,000 budgeted for cleanups, and, that is what's, the refuse fees are helping to, pay for.
Okay, so in the budget discussion, there was talk about the refuse cost impacting your budget, but you have offsetting income for that as well, right?
That would be the refuse fees that we're talking about tonight,
Okay,
right?
thank
The
you.
cleanup cost does not have an offset, a revenue offset. For the
Okay.
cleanup,
Okay.
there's no revenue offset, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Anyone else in the audience that would like to make any comments or ask any questions? Okay, if not, I'd entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion closed.
Second. Sherry will take the roll.
Councilmember Cavanagh.
Yes.
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman.
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
Ordinance number 3242/2025, establishing solid waste fees for non-commercial establishments by repealing and replacing section 31.5-35 of the municipal code of the city of Ottumwa. Recommendation passed the first consideration of ordinance 3242/2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
So moved. Second.
Sherry will take the roll.
Councilmember Cavanagh.
Yes.
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman.
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
We have no ordinances tonight, so we'll move on to departmental board or commission recommendations and reports.
Consideration of joint law enforcement center agreement. Recommendation approve a new agreement between the city of Ottumwa and Wapello County for the maintenance of the joint law enforcement center.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. The city of Ottumwa and Wapello County share space in the Joint Law Enforcement Center. The mutual agreement was created on 6/3 of 1997 and later modified 2/3 of 1998. And then lastly, on 3/17 of 2003. The new agreement will replace the earlier agreements listed above. This agreement is established for the continued maintenance and operation of the Joint Law Enforcement Center.
Council have any questions?
So I assume the two sit down and you guys go through this and decide who's paying for what.
All right, Chief Farrington, is looking a little different tonight, but. Not as good, much wiser, yes. Chief Farrington, City Finance Director Cole O'Donnell, myself, sat down with the members of the county commission, the sheriff, and, who else was the auditor, I believe was there as well, to talk about this agreement. So this agreement has been in place since the facility was built, and it talks about the maintenance. Previously, it's a shared space, so it was helping to break down, identify who was responsible for what and what costs. The city occupies between what our own space is and the shared common space, about 25% of the building, and the county has 75%, most of the jail and other parts that are gonna be county specific. And what we had identified is that when the building was built, it was built, I guess say under budget. There was some dollars that were left behind, they were put into a maintenance fund. And each entity was supposed to contribute a share to maintain and continue to grow that maintenance fund. Over time, both entities were not necessarily doing that and drawing down that balance. The dollars that were in there, or the amounts that were in there, are not sufficient in a square footage basis to meet the annual maintenance or operating costs. And so we met and talked about that. One option was to just increase those per square foot rates. The group kind of said, well, we should be at least meeting the budget on the annual basis, and just increasing the rates isn't going to get us there, without significantly increasing them. So it was looked at saying, let's each entity budget their proportionate share for those common areas, which we had gotten in time to put into the city budget and county as well. And then those amounts that were there, continue to do that, those lower rates, I think it's like a quarter per square foot, it's in the agreement here. Those dollars would be set aside into a capital, so a larger purchase capital like HVAC, different things that might be needed on a less frequent basis, and have dollars set aside, so neither entity would have to hopefully borrow as much at that time.
Any other questions from council? If not, we still need a motion to approve the recommendation.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sherry will take the roll.
Councilmember Cavanagh,
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway, Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
Approve delay in the application of sewer-based fee on multifamily and mobile home units. Recommendation, delayed imposition of sewer-based fees on each unit within multifamily dwelling and each mobile home lot of a mobile home park until January 1, 2026.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As March 18, 2025 meeting, the council directed staff to prepare an agenda item formalizing the council's desire to delay the imposition of sewer-based charges on each unit within a multifamily dwelling and each mobile home park until January 1, 2026. This motion will do such that.
Does council have any questions for Cole? We do have one individual that would like to speak on this agenda item, so at this time I'll call Mr. Long to the podium, and please state your name and address. You have 3 minutes.
Name's Tony Long, 14277 120th Street, Ottumwa. The reason I was given per apartment was because multiple units would do greater harm to the sewer system, do more tough. From my understanding, we're not gonna do this commercial, so you got all these hotels, 40, 50 rooms, would put a lot more down the sewer system than my apartments. Talking to my tenants, me telling them I have to raise your rent, I caught a lot of hell this week. I would propose and hopefully accept to just do it $20 per meter, that's one per building, instead of for all 18 of my apartments. There's other landlords that have over 200 apartments. It's gonna raise their fees a lot. And if we're doing this for every residential home in Ottumwa, if there's what I was told, 15,000 homes, $20, that's $300,000 a month for raising. How does that not overkill? If you got a loan, $300,000 a month, that's over $3 million a year. Like I said, I don't mind $20 per meter to cover my apartment buildings for home, but per apartment is way too high. That's all I got.
Thank you.
I'm going to maybe explain some of this, Matt. We're not imposing a new $20 on households, on houses, residential houses. There is already a base fee for each of those meters. What we're doing is increasing the amount of base fee for everyone, and then also imposing the fee upon the rental units. Those are the only units that are receiving the fee for the first time. It's not 1,500 times 20. It might be 1,500 times, and I'm not sure exactly what it is, but $1.50.
Hey, Cole, I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I stopped you before you got.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
what do the hotels, the schools, and John Deere and all of them pay per one?
So what it is there is there are commercial meters, and they will pay for a base fee for each meter that they may have. In talking with Philip, just right before the meeting, because they said this may come up, there was discussion about having, commercial units or commercial, customers pay a different rate, to compensate for the fact that they may have, such as a hotel may have a high water usage at times. And so, I was informed that that didn't go anywhere. But yes, a commercial business has, if it has 1 meter, it has 1 base charge. If it has 2 meters, it has, 2 base charges. But that's the way the structure is currently set up.
So a whole hotel can have 1 base meter?
If they only have 1 meter, then they have 1 base fee. I can't
But
tell
yeah,
you.
I mean, I'm just trying to understand that his apartments could have 5,
His apartments could have 5, yes.
but a big hotel could have.
Correct. But again, that is, because they're a commercial unit, and that's the differential, because they're a commercial unit. So if the council wants to change that, we can certainly go back and look at that. But at this point, the only recommendation, that we've made, and the only change in the ordinance that we made is to per residential unit.
I think it's something that we should, look at or explore too. I don't know when this happened, or the conversation, or not the conversation, but when it didn't go anywhere too, but it would be interesting. I think something we should have, a discussion we should have.
For businesses and commercial hotels and stuff, they have a commercial meter, so don't they pay a lot higher rate for a commercial meter than a residential?
They don't pay, as far as sewer, no. Water, water side, yes.
Add a little bit of context.
You said sewer, no, water, yes?
Correct.
So I'll add a little bit of context to the commercial versus residential. So when the sewer separation work first started, this is 20 years ago before I was here, so I don't have any knowledge of conversations that happened. But I saw we had a study, and there were several different proposals on how to change sewer fees back then. A couple of them had different rates for commercial and residential. A couple of them had the same rates. They did a study, or did a comprehensive study of the whole sewer system and figured out how much of the sewer fees were paid by residential and how much of the load they put on the system. And they had a total number for the commercial users and how much they put on the system. And at that time, residential was paying a little bit more, but they added a fee to some of the industrial users to even it out so that commercial and residential were even. That was a long time. We haven't done a study since then, but at that time, the council saw those two numbers and they decided to not charge a different rate to commercial over what they were paying, like more than what residential paid. So, but we can look into it again if it's something the council wants to pursue.
So they did a whole study to really look at those numbers and to compare and then see like, how can we even it out?
Yeah, like I said, I don't know what any conversation was had between the council members and city staff at that time. All I know was what this number showed and then what council adopted. What
How old was
council
the
adopted.
study?
This is like 2005 when we started sewer separation.
How long would it take to do the study, probably?
It'd probably be pretty expensive and I don't think it's something easy to do.
That's what I wondered, how long it would take to even do.
Yeah. I don't think there's been a lot of change, honestly. If anything, the amount of commercial load has gone down because the vast majority, like a third of all the commercial loading for the sewer system was Dr. Pepper, and they put in pre-treatment since then, so they drastically reduced the amount of BOD and the amount of load on the system since then. So I guess, not I don't have any numbers, but I'd estimate if we redid it again, it'd be pretty similar. and maybe even a little bit less of the commercial side loading.
And JBS has their own treatment plant.
JBS has a
Side,
treatment
right?
plant, they don't contribute anything.
Thank you, Philip.
Coleman asked one more question, I know it sounds like you have a question, but let's just say that gentleman has 5 apartments, 5 meters. How much extra a year is, and I know that he would have to raise rent, how much extra a year that costs him?
If right now he had one meter, right? The fee might be, let's say the fee is $21 for a base charge, right? So now you'd have four more than that, so you have $104 added to.
Per month.
Per month, correct. And
That seems like a lot of money to me. Maybe I'm not understanding it or not looking at it.
well,
I mean, what do the schools pay? Can you tell me that?
I can't tell you what the schools pay right offhand. What it is the ordinance was a recommendation, based upon conversations that occurred, a little bit before I got here. And as part of the, study, done by our financial advisor on what rates are necessary in order to, be able to, fund our sewer separation and operations at the same time. And that, included in that was, putting the base charge on, all residential units, so multifamily as well.
Any other questions from council?
I think there definitely needs be more conversation on it because it doesn't seem, completely balanced.
Yeah, to me, the numbers still.
Folks. And, but by passing this recommendation that we have right now, that gives us more time to think about that, because it moves back to January 1st of 26 to start it, so it gives us time to think about it before we get to that point. But it definitely needs to be thought about some more.
And I understand that gentleman's concern when you more conversation. I mean, I know sometimes we say, it raises it $20 or $21 a month, and what's 20 bucks to one person and 20 bucks to another person can be disastrous. I mean, sometimes that may be argued, so, I just feel we're getting hit kind of hard, so I think I would like to have some more conversation. I agree with the council. Agreed.
So do I understand, like with Mr. Long's apartment, so he has 1 meter, and what this is talking about is then per unit, making the base fee per unit instead of meter.
Correct.
And, so that's the thing we're talking about here, and it just seems like it needs to be talked about more. And it just really hits heavy there all of a sudden, it's a lot more per month for his apartments, anybody's apartments.
Mr. Long?
Yeah.
You have 15 units or whatever. How many meters, water meters, are there in place?
I have 3 different buildings,
Okay,
1 meter in each building.
okay.
Now, I'm saying that these commercial places, now, are you doing it for every residential house?
Every residential house already has the base charge, but the ordinance increased that base charge, from what it is currently.
By $20.
No. They already have a base charge of, say, $20.
So
Now it's gonna go to $21.50.
My apartment buildings don't have any base charge now.
Your apartments do have a base charge. You have one base charge
Okay.
for the meter.
One per building.
One per building,
He's
one
got
per
3
meter.
meters.
One per meter. If his buildings had 2 meters, he'd have 2 base charges.
Right.
Right? There are some rental units where they have installed, individual meters for each unit. Each of those units pays a base charge. Any multifamily dwelling right now that only has 1 meter pays 1 base charge, regardless of how many units are in the building.
But I still pay the $7 a gallon for water and the $7 or $8, $9 for the sewer. I pay just as much as any other house per apartment. I do not want the $20 extra per apartment. People that have 200 apartment buildings are gonna be paying an outrageous. I supply apartments for 14 different people who work at JBS. Think of the income, sales tax they generate for this town. I have 5 low rent housing that can't afford the $20 a month. I can't even raise them because they have year contracts. I'm more than welcome to supply affordable housing, but I can't keep doing it with all the extra cost. And my apartment's no harder on this sewer system than a 40, 50 room motel.
Any other questions from council before we take the roll?
One more. I know it seems like we're dragging this out, but I'm trying to really get the grasp. So the school does not pay for the sewer. They're paying the water.
No. They pay water and sewer. But you asked me what they pay, right? Or how much they pay. I can't tell you. I can't tell you if they have 1 meter for the high school, they pay 1 base charge plus their usage. If they have 1 meter for an elementary school, they pay 1 base charge plus their usage.
Yeah, it just, for, bring this all back here, the vote that you're considering right now is to extend this, delay it, push it out, so, if there's any questions about whether you want to move forward with having separate fees or one fee or whatever else, then I would say a vote yes will give that time to explore that further.
Till January 2026. Any other questions from council before we take the vote? If not, Sherry will take the roll.
Councilmember Cavanagh,
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway. Yes. Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on to resolutions. We had 5 resolutions tonight.
Resolution number 50, 2025, setting April 15, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. as the date and time for a public hearing for fiscal year 26 annual city budget and certifying taxes for the city of Ottumwa. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 50, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move the recommendation.
Second. Okay, Mr. O'Donnell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In accordance with Iowa code, we must hold a public hearing on the totality of the proposed budget. And we are asking for April 15th at 5:30 p.m. Just a little update, after our work session, I did go back and put in, for the general fund, put in all of the revenue enhancements and all of the expenditure reductions that you wanted, with the exception of the 3 proposed new positions within the general fund. When we hold our public hearing, you'll be asked to vote on not only the certification of the budget as a whole, but prior to that vote, you will be asked to vote on approving those 3 positions individually. So you'll have 3 votes, 1 for each position. Then you'll have a vote on the certification. The state allows us to, once we publish and everything, we can go down on anything, we just can't go up, okay? When it comes to expenditures or taxes. So we're perfectly fine going ahead, approving the public hearing with the certification that I presented to you as is. It should be noted that with all of the changes that came out of the work session, that the shortfall in the general fund is reduced to $576,896. If we were to not approve all 3 positions, that would bring the shortfall down to $444,000 and change.
Can you say those 2 numbers again?
So the change, the shortfall in the general fund after our changes, $576,896. If you were not approved the 3 job positions, that would be reduced to $444 in change, 444, 8 something rather. But again, you have 4 votes on the 15th. Vote on each of the positions that were proposed, and then the budget of the whole.
Any other questions from council? If not, Sherry will take the roll.
Councilmember Cavanagh.
Yes.
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway. Yes. Councilmember Hoffman.
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
Resolution number 54, 2025, awarding the contract and approving the contract bonds and certificate of insurance for the South Market Street Lead project. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution 54, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, Philip.
All right, thank you, Mayor. The plans and specifications governing construction of the proposed work were prepared by Genus Landscape Architects. Bidding forms were posted on Beeline and Blue's e-plan room. A notice of project was also placed on the city website. Bids were received and opened by the city of Ottumwa on March 12, 2025 at 2 p.m. 3 bids were received. The lowest responsible bidder is Kirshner Contracting of Ottumwa, Iowa, in the amount of $358,473.00. The required bond certification of certificate of insurance and signed contract with Kushner Contracting are attached. They are on file with the city clerk. Client holders list in the bid tab is also attached. Just to point, the estimated cost was $461,720. It came in roughly $100,000 under budget. And the source of the funds for this project is legacy, so there's no tax money in this project.
Any questions from council for Philip?
Is this the sign that's gonna go on the pillars?
Yeah, this is gonna be the gateway sign that goes
At the
pillars
sign, okay.
across the.
And then
Market
there's
Street.
just not buying anything else. It's just the sign with the pillars.
This is
It'll be at the
not-
north end of the Market Street Bridge.
Right.
And to confirm who and reiterate who is paying for this,
Legacy Foundation is paying 100% of the construction costs.
and this can't be used to fix streets in our community,
No.
correct?
Because that's a grant, but you can't just take monies from grant.
Yeah, Legacy is their own entity.
Any other questions for Philip? If not, Sherry will take the roll.
Councilmember Cavanagh.
Yes.
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman.
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
Resolution number 55, 2025, accepting work as final and complete and approving the final pay for approved budget for Lockwood Street Extension Trail Project. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 55, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, Philip.
Thank you, Mayor. This project created a concrete trail along the east side of Berry Street and the Wapello Street extension between Richmond Avenue and Greater Ottumwa Park. The existing sidewalk by scooters was widened to a width of 8 feet, and then from their driveway to the park, there's now a 10-foot wide trail. It's approximately 960 feet of new trail. And we have a drone fly over if you guys want to see what the finished trail looked like.
Those roundabouts were really well.
And that section of new trail is gonna eventually fit in with the Oxbow Lagoon Trail project, right? When they get the funding and finish that project.
Yeah, we worked on getting the funding. We have a contract now to design this. That's in the works. The seeding was just done this spring. The seeding around the street and the park residential commercial area is regular grass seeding, but along the lagoon, we planted native grass. So there'll be a sign there and explaining why it's not being mowed, basically. But it'll do a lot. There's a pretty steep bank there, and it'll help hold the soil there, so you don't have issues with it impacting the trail.
That may turn out really well.
Looks great. I've seen a lot of people use it and.
It's a fast street, so it's helpful to get people off the shoulder.
For sure.
So TK Concrete of Pella, Iowa completed the above project and according to plans and specs, and this is gonna authorize final payment, releasing all retainage. The original contract was for $84,299. The change order attached decreased the cost by $705.94. There was a decrease in concrete cost just because the route of the trail was a little bit less than we anticipated. And then there was an increase in cost for the native grass seeding, but it washed out. It's $706 less than what it originally was. So the final payment amount to TK Concrete would be $12,325.90. This is 100% funded by a grants that were obtained by the Trail Council. So it's a REAP grant from the state, and the rest of it was from Legacy. Again, nothing out of pocket from the city for the construction cost.
Council have any questions for Philip?
Well, I'd say the concrete company out of the Pella did a perfect job. They were all over it, got it done, and it's nice.
It really helps.
Any other questions for Philip? Not sure, he'll take the roll.
Councilmember Cavanagh.
Yes.
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman.
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
Resolution number 56, 2025, approving the combined change orders 6, 7, 8, and 9 for the Greater Ottumwa Park Soccer Complex legacy fields. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 56, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move the recommendation.
Second.
Okay, Gene.
Thank you, Your Honor. On December 19th, 2023, the city of Ottumwa entered into a contract with Bi-State Construction of West Burlington, Iowa to build 3 soccer fields in Central Edition Park. Change order number 6 is for temporary seating for a cost of $9,035.71. Change order number 7 is for additional management costs and fuel for $54,149.51. Change order number 8 is for the relocation of the irrigation pump and reduction of the number of quick couplers for a cost of negative $1,571.30. Change order number 9 is for extending the scope of the work for signage, fencing, and fees to Iowa Sports Turf for $41,269.16. The total cost of these change orders is $102,883.08, which will increase the total cost of the project to $2,956,849.04. A summary of the change orders is attached. And the change orders and the total cost of the project will be funded by the Ottumwa Regional Legacy Foundation.
Does council have any questions for Gene?
I hope we're telling them thank you for all that. They're doing a good job.
We do that, and they've also provided excellent guidance and leadership on this project in addition to the funds.
Great, thank you.
So to confirm again, the fields are being paid for and these change orders are being paid for by,
The Ottumwa Regional Legacy Foundation.
none of that funding could go to any other projects like streets or roads.
That's correct.
I don't have a question. I guess I would just make a comment and follow up with what Councilman Galloway just said. the cost of the fields is not anything that cities have to worry about, but the city is gonna have to be looking in the future at how those fields are gonna be maintained.
Right.
Cause it's almost a $3 million project and they have underground water irrigation systems. You have to put fertilizer and stuff. It's not just mowing grass.
Right.
So the city's gonna have to come up with somebody who has the credentials and the expertise to maintain these soccer fields. So that is one of those new positions that we're looking at, in the budget hearing.
Yes.
Because that's an important thing. You just can't have the park staff go out and just mow the grass, because there's a lot more that has to be done to maintain those new soccer fields. So I just want the council to remember that. Any other questions for Gene? Not sure, you'll take the roll.
Councilmember Cavanagh,
Yes.
Councilmember Reed, Councilmember Galloway,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
Say yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Gene.
Thank you.
Resolution number 57, 2025, approving a proposal submitted by the Black Hawk Food Company Inc. for the WTCF Headworks Building Re-roofing Project in the amount of $106,616. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 57, 2025.
Is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Move to approve. Move to approve.
Second?
Okay, Mr. Lloyd.
Was there a second?
Yes.
Yes, there was. You can speak now.
Honorable Mayor, Council, preemptive, this is user fee, capital improvement, this is not taxes, this is not grants.
Thank you.
Okay. This is to approve a proposal by Blackhawk Roofing for the water pollution control facility at Headworks Building Re-roofing Project. Their bid came in at 106,616. The next one came in at 127,975. The highest was 155,282. Again, this was put into our CIP plan. It should be done before the beginning of the next fiscal year. That will complete 2 roofs that were planned for the CIP and have money left in reserves back left in the CIP.
Council, have any questions for John?
I was amazed at how you got a roof that was bid for $325,000 done for $18,525. How'd that work out?
Magic. No, I mean, that's, we had 2 buildings that we estimated that's what the cost was gonna be. Neither one came in that high, so that's how much we, were able to save. We can take those 2, we should be able to put, should maintain 122,975 left back into the CIP.
I like your save words. They're really good.
We tried, but we spent a lot of money too. We have a lot of big things down there. You guys should come down and see it. I'm telling you. I told.
It's very high tech.
So
run that water treatment plant.
pretty awesome. I think we have a lot more coming, so just be prepared.
Any other questions for John? If not, sure, I'll take the roll.
Councilmember Cavanagh.
Yes.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway.
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. The next item on our agenda is where I ask if anyone in the audience would like to speak on any non-agenda items tonight that are not on our city council agenda. Okay. The next item is mayor, city council reports and any communications. I've got a couple of things I wanted to bring up. The Ottumwa Human Rights Commission is going to be hosting their first newcomer community meeting this week on April 3rd from 5 to 6:30 at the Bridgeview Center. And I believe our police chief, Chad Farrington, is going to talk about immigration policies, changes, and how that impacts what the Ottumwa Police Department does. They're also going to have some other information shared. It is open to the public, so I would encourage people to come and get some good information at that first newcomer meeting on April 3rd from 5 to 6:30 at Bridgeview Center. The other thing is the League of Women Voters is going to be conducting a legislative forum. I'm really glad to see that happen because we haven't had them for quite a while. And it's my understanding that Representative Wiltz and Senator Westrich both have agreed to attend. And it's going to be this coming Saturday, April 5th, from 9 to 11 at the Career Academy building that belongs to the Ottumwa Community School District. It's 331 East Main Street. It's on the corner there by the Jefferson Street Bridge. So encourage everybody to come and listen and be able to ask your legislators any questions or share any concerns you might have. And I believe they're also going to give an update on how the legislative session is going in Des Moines. So really we encourage people to attend that. And then there's also the Ottumwa Regional Legacy Foundation is going to be hosting some sessions on how to run for public office, which I think is good that they're doing that because we do have the mayor's position and 3 council seats up for election this fall. So if you're interested in learning more about the process of running for public office, such as city council, mayor, or school board, you can attend these meetings. One is April 16th at 9 a.m. Another one is April 16th at noon, and that third one is April 23rd at 6 p.m. And these are informational sessions, and the location for these will be at the Legacy Foundation office, 111 East Main Street in downtown Ottumwa. The event is open to the public and there's no charge to attend. So for anybody, especially that's contemplating or seriously considering, which I hope we have several people that will run for mayor, city council, or school board, this would be a really good opportunity for you to get some information on different things you need to think about when you're running for public office. They didn't do this when we ran a few years back. I wish they would have had this for us when we decided to run. So I'm glad to see that the Legacy Foundation is going to help sponsor these since we have so many vacancies to fill. And it's also applicable, like I said, to people running for school board too. Those are the announcements that I had. Does council have any other announcements or anything that they'd like to say?
I do. I just want to say that Ms. Mock, the chair of the Children's Alliance, didn't identify, but there are a lot of events that are going on this month to raise awareness for child abuse prevention, such as like a door decorating contest to just show the community that you support child abuse prevention. So if you follow the Wapello County Children's Alliance on Facebook, you can see there's other opportunities. There will be just some other groups that will be, or events that will be happening throughout the month too. Like Wear Blue Friday. So wear blue on Friday in support of child abuse prevention. Yeah.
It's kind of an unfortunate commentary, but we do have child abuse and child neglect and adult abuse and adult neglect that goes on in our community, just like it goes on in any other community in the United States. So for people that don't think we have any problems with that, I'm here to tell you, after working for the state for 30 years, we do have problems with child abuse and adult abuse. So Councilwoman Galloway is correct. There's a lot of events that's going to be being held throughout the month of April to raise awareness for those initiatives. And it's a sad commentary that we have to deal with, but it's reality and we have to do it. So I hope people will take advantage and come to some of those events. Council, any other council members have any announcements that they'd like to make? Okay, if not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn our city council meeting.
No to adjourn.
Second. One more time, Sherry. Sherry will take the roll.
Councilmember Cavanagh. Reed, Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Councilmember Galloway. Yes. Councilmember Hoffman.
Yes.
Councilmember McIntyre.
Yes.
We are adjourned, and I'd like to thank everybody for attending our 2 city council meetings tonight. It's always good to see people attend and show some interest in what's going on in our city. So everybody have safe travels home and have a good evening.